we're at 7. Looking around the room, make sure we're at 7. My wife sent me with a highlighter to make sure I mark where I am so I don't skip things. We're at 7. TGM has served as an auditor since 2014, I believe. It is good business that we put services out to bid from time to time, and our new and improved audit committee, seeing that we're nearing the end of our fiscal year, made a measured and appropriate recommendation that we finish out this year with TGM. But begin the process of putting together an RFP, including TGM, to see if we could find someone new. DCA and a commissioner sent out several emails with attack, and honestly, about the honesty and integrity of TGM. Their reaction was to resign. And who can blame them? This has been very disappointing, and if you follow along in the news, you know that there is more to the story. The long and short of it is that thanks to the leadership of Julie Johnson and the audit committee's hard work, they got together quickly and will soon have an RFP ready for the world to see. It's my sincere hope that they will soon be making recommendations as to who they would like the town to work with moving forward. This isn't really a discuss item, but there's nothing to vote on here. But if anybody has anything to add, I just want to share the news that TGM did resign. Commissioner Moskowitz.
Yeah, so first I would like to correct the record. I sent them a letter, but I sent them a letter on an audit matter. And I'll just read part of the letter. It says, "Dear Mr. Geiser, I need to bring an important matter regarding the upcoming audit to your attention. For 5 months, I have been asking the town manager, along with the mayor, to have an employee who is actively soliciting for financial contributions to use his town email instead of his personal email. Additionally, this is being done on a quasi-town website."
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to stop you. For what part of the record are you trying to
Well,
correct?
you had said I sent them a
I didn't
complete
say
letter.
that. I said that, Commissioner. But for the
Yes.
record, what part of the record are you trying to correct?
So I'm just saying my letter was not for them to quit. My letter was for them to do
I
something
didn't say
about
that
it.
was for them to quit.
Okay, so I just want that clear.
Okay.
Second, in audit committee RFP, it says that auditor shall transmit a draft audit report and discuss findings and recommendations with the town manager, audit committee chair, and the mayor. And if you look at audit committee charter, it says the committee shall have the duty to resolve disagreements between management and auditor regarding financial reporting for purposes of issuing an audit report or related work. And I know things have been done in the past. Who knows, maybe 1 year, maybe 10 years, who knows? But I just want to correct this process. And
This
what
is
I'm-
not what we're talking about right
Yeah,
now.
well, this says discuss the TGM leaving, and the way to correct this process, let me just finish, is
So we-
basically let the audit committee get the document, have the mayor CC, have the town commissioner CC, have the town, starting over. Have the,
Point of order, point of order. I think we're way off subject.
We are.
I disagree.
This is about TGM resigning. That's all
Well,
this topic is about.
but TGM resigns means we have to get a new auditor.
And the
there
process
was
has
a,
begun.
there was a meeting last week of the audit committee at which Commissioner Moskowitz objected to some of the terms that were included in the RFQ. Had I been here, I would have objected to those same terms. And I still think there's a continuing question here in terms of what is in the RFQ.
Well, for purposes of this meeting, their business, they're supposed to be independent, and we're not supposed to influence their decision. There was a public meeting, they did it in the public, that was now they'll take it and make their RFP. Us talking about the process today is not what's on the agenda. We're discussing their resignation and their speedy work to get things done.
But there is a question of what they believe is the correct process. I think it was presented to them, what was currently in the RFQ was presented to them as the correct way of doing things.
That's an accusation. Who presented what?
You said that.
I said things in
You
a
said-
public meeting,
You
yes.
said it was the correct approach. And I'm objecting to that. I would have objected to it at the meeting.
And you and I have objected and had conversations
And
about
we
that
have,
since.
and so it's not clear to me what will be in the RFQ.
And
And
that
I'm concerned that they're left with the wrong impression. You know,
Two
Commissioner,
people-
I know Commissioner
This is out of
Moskowitz,
order.
it's not out of order.
This is out of order,
How is it out of order?
because that's not what's on the agenda for today.
This is a result of TGM resigning. We have to get a new auditor. And so
they
there's
have an
a process.
independent role, and Commissioner Moskowitz made his point, and I made mine in a public meeting.
But you're the mayor and you presented it as the correct impression. So I'm not sure what the audit committee took from that. And I think it is relevant for us to know.
So, and I,
And
no,
to
okay,
make the point
I'll go boil into this discussion for just a minute, but I'm not, we've got 13 items on this agenda, we started at 3 o'clock, it's now 5:30. But we'll boil this down for just a moment, just for the sake of discussion, just so we have clear, open conversation about this process. The audit committee, the only thing we could do as commissioners now is try to influence their decision on how they prepare their RFQ, RFP, or whatever you want to call it. And I don't know if that's our role. They had a public meeting, there were public comments from people of the community and the mayor and a commissioner. They've seen the email responses that have gone back and forth. They have a responsibility, and their leadership is clear. They know what they're doing, and they've made measured, appropriate decisions to date. I have no doubt that they will look at what I said, what Commissioner Moskowitz said, and I think they will come to us. No, they won't even come to us. It's not they don't have to come to us. They're independent.
That's right.
So there's no way for us to fix this. It's up to them now.
No, I don't-
Or correct it. And I don't know if appropriately we should.
Well, my point here is that I'm not sure that they weren't left with the wrong impression that in fact what is in the current RFQ is the, quote, correct process. I don't think that is the case at all, and I think we could, among ourselves, come to agreement on what is the correct process, and what might be a process that is consistent with the audit committee charter. And there are two of those. There is one in the town charter, and then there is a more expansive charter, I believe, that Commissioner Moskowitz quoted from.
That is part of their charter, and our charter is clear as well. So I'm not sure what you're suggesting that we could do here today, but I think if what your hope is not on our agenda, is that we could say that our belief is that, because the process, the concern is, and when the accusation was in the email that you talked about, was that because the town manager, the chair of the audit committee, and the mayor received a draft copy to comment on, not edit, comment on, that was somehow inappropriate. And I'm going to speak for just a moment before you do. And so in this process of how things are done, there has to be a way for the town manager, the chair of the audit committee, perhaps we need to, it would be great if we could have a group that we trust, perhaps the solicitor, the town manager, perhaps, I don't care if it's none of the commissioners, including the mayor, and 2 or 3 of the people that sit on that committee that see the first draft. But in the world we live in, where every meeting is public and every document is public, realize in the past, if there was an audit committee meeting where they were reviewing draft documents, and somebody came into the meeting, they were asked to leave. That was in 2017. That's how it was done before this new leadership took
That was
place.
a 3-hour executive session.
That was a different one that happened more recently. So I don't know how we craft this as commissioners, because it's not our responsibility. It's the audit committee's responsibility of how they get each other's hand up a while. So, and I was talking with Gary, so I'm going to start here before I go over there. So I don't know if any of this is even in our role. So I'm going to go, before I go here, to there. And say, council, is this something that we can even, and I don't even know if you're prepared for this conversation today. As commissioners of the town of Dewey Beach, and with the independent nature that this town has established as for our audit committee, how can we even affect this appropriately?
Well, it seems
You've
to
been
me,
copied on the email, so you know something.
practically speaking, I don't think all is lost here, or that you have to decide this minute whether there's a remedy that you have to enforce. I think you can go on thinking about it, and I think there's plenty of time to determine through communications with the auditor, process-related communications, what should be expected from the auditor in concert with the committee.
So what you're suggesting is leaving it to professionals.
I think so.
I think that's appropriate.
But in the end, the professionals shouldn't be imposing something on you, the client, that you object to because of your prior experience or for whatever other reason. So I wouldn't think you would have a lot of difficulty addressing this through some, in concert with the audit committee and the auditor that they select, and say, look, the RFQ said this, we would like, instead of a draft RFP, we'd rather have a presentation of some sort, or a PowerPoint presentation or something, or a discussion of key findings to get comments. I think the auditors, my understanding is the auditors want that and anticipate that they benefit from it, and understand that they don't amend or change their reports in any substantive way based on comments they receive from the client who may not like it. But I understand this is very sensitive, and I understand the comments on both sides of this. So it doesn't seem to me, though, that we can't rescue the situation somehow through
Commissioner Burson.
that discussion.
And I have this, oh,
Commissioner Cook,
did you want that?
Yeah, you went okay.
Oh,
Right.
I thought you were telling me to shut up.
No,
I apologize. But I have a silly question just for the moment. Is it per singer or passenger?
Hard G.
It is a ger.
Hard, no, hard G. Ger.
Oh, so I'm the one who's
Person.
I'm always saying it improperly, so I apologize.
Per singer.
I always lied to my children and told them that in German that meant beautiful singer.
And never mind, I'll leave that.
I'm gonna say that I disagree with the mayor. Mayor and I happen to disagree with how the subject should be solved.
We disagree for both.
But the problem is that it says discuss the status of TGM Group as the town's auditor.
Boom.
We are now into this area that has, it's related to, but very loosely related to
Here, here.
the item on the agenda, and I think we should move on.
Moving on.
I just want to
Go ahead.
finish my thought.
Finish.
As investment chair last year, they made a mistake in the draft report. I raised my concern there in the audit committee meeting, they fixed it in the final report. Life lives on. And the audit charter says one thing, and what I was trying to propose before, and I'll just leave it as that, is the audit committee gets that audit report. It's not a presentation, an audit report has a specific format, as a CPA, I know that. And then CC'd is the management, which is the town manager, and the town manager will send it to the mayor and commissioners. Everyone's happy, we have a draft meeting, the document says draft. It's not going to be used against you election-wise, it's just going to be done in a proper process.
We are off subject.
But it is.
Who has to rule whether we're off subject or not?
I didn't, nobody listened.
It's the presiding officer. But if it's stamped draft, it doesn't mean that it's not a public document. Once it's disseminated,
Yes, so,
once it's, even if the auditor doesn't want it made public, it's a public document.
okay. Mr. Cody.
These are my comments, no one else's, obviously.
Still on.
There is a long-standing practice of management being offered a review copy of the audited financial statements ahead of the audit committee. And the reason for that is that they can check to make sure that TGM has looked at the information correctly, things line up, the work papers were communicated correctly, and so there are no obvious errors or omissions before it becomes a public document. And there, as I said, there's a long-standing history of that. And if you go back to any other municipality, I believe you would find that there is a history at most municipalities of staff review of that document prior to it going to a commissioner level. And it's not unheard of, it's not unethical, it's just simply part of doing business. They're in effect auditing my numbers, and we have to come to a meeting of the minds that those are the numbers that were offered from us, and that's how they were received. And I'm caught in the middle of this, because I'm the one that's getting beat up over some of this stuff. I did not write the RFP that the audit committee is considering. It's not my language. I provided the audit committee chairman with 3 samples of RFPs. One was from the city of Dover, one was from the town of Fenwick Island, and one was the 1-page document that was sent out from the town of Dewey Beach prior. So if they grab that language from somewhere, it was grabbed from one of those other 2 audit examples. Because I believe that that's the standard practice out there, is to allow management to review it and comment, not edit. And the professional auditor has an obligation under their license or their certificate to either accept the comments or reject the comments. And I stand by everybody who was before me that reviewed those at the staff level, because I think it was appropriate for them to do it. And I stand by my comments that I made at the last one, both the audit and the AUP and the financial statements and the draft audit communications. Because I would make the argument that the comments that I offered made the report more transparent than it was when I received the draft the first time.
Okay, now, I'm done. This was to discuss,
I have a comment, Dick.
The cat's out of the bag now.
Cat, Commissioner Persinger.
Commissioner Bowers, not
Go ahead.
All right, there's a process that an auditor follows, and Scott, correct me if I'm wrong. So TGM has supplied information from the town. It's uploaded to their website. Because the allegations against TGM were that they missed things. But there's a paper trail of what we've uploaded. There's a representation letter that has been signed in each of those years. It had 2 signatures on it by people within town, not audit committee people. So the town has to take the responsibility for providing information. And truthfully, whatever is there, an auditor cannot audit something that's not there. If I didn't tell you about something, it's on me. I can't say you didn't find it, well, because you never gave it to me. That's why you didn't find it. You didn't. So we have a problem in years 14, 15. TGM was here all these years. And we know what the representation letter and their signatures on. And we need to address this as a commission.
Okay, and see now, this is why we don't go off the agenda. Because I agree with what you're saying, but I also know that it's far out beyond the scope of this agenda item. Commissioner Persinger, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I do.
Correct.
I'm sorry, but I do. Much of what I heard from the town manager, I generally agree with. The town manager has to be involved in the audit. It's his books. The audit, the outside auditing services, not audit, accounting services have to be involved. I think we do still have a disagreement of who sees the audit report once it comes out, who has an opportunity to comment on the draft.
The draft.
I think we have a disagreement. I would just like to say, I would like to have some time on an upcoming agenda to talk this through in more detail. And I will agree with Mr. Cook that we're getting too far afield, and I think we can move on.
We're already past our 2.5 hours. We need to vote to extend the meeting.
We didn't start out with the rules the way they should be anyway, so I'm not going to look for a vote on that. If any of us need to be excused for any